Garfield. He's a cat, he's orange, sometimes monstrous, sometimes ephemeral, and he hates Mondays. Nothing revs his engine quite like a Monday. Did you like that? That uneasy transition? There's something about kart racers that attracts strange IPs, but somehow not Fortnite. Seriously, if they had made rocket racing a kart racer, they would have made actual money. Garfield, in this sense, is ahead of the curve, but perhaps too ahead. Garfield Battle Royale, still unreleased. My kart experience is from the two heavy hitters, the first being the ever obvious Mario Kart, and the second being the more flavorful Crash Team Racing. Between these two tired titans, the genre seems pretty set. As we explore the questionable Garfield Kart, these will be the two subconscious references Garfield will be required to duke it out against: the prize, lasagna, and a right to life. Please note, we'll be playing the PC version of the 2013 original, as opposed to the 3DS version or the remake Furious Racing. It's comical that this game received enough attention to demand a remake, and tells me that this is either so good it couldn't be denied, or so bad that it also could not be denied. Please also note that I am not a Garfield lore expert. I know he attracts a lot of special attention from Sonic minded folks, but that's not me. So, beyond Garfield the cat, Odie the dog, and John the human, I am a blank canvas. Though I suspect we won't find much lore to sink our teeth into here. Booting up, we're greeted with Sims esque music, Garfield and friends racing along the bottom of the screen, a UFO flying by. The menu houses a few options: a play button, a daily challenge, a shop, a tutorial, and a puzzle piece display. The option menu only houses volume and language. Anything relating to display or input needs to be done before the game loads in the launch menu. We're playing this in 1600 by 900, as higher resolutions cause the game to load with elements missing. The UI seems kind of basic, but fine for what is likely IP slop, though the back arrow being a pizza kind of annoys me. That's not lasagna. The play button leads us to the racing menu with three classic options for racing. I enter my name and give single race a go, eager to see the controller support. I'm doing the menu navigating with my mouse, but the Steam page implies I can use my controller. The cups are divided by CC, the classic 50, 100, and 150. The bottle icon is strange. The cups aren't labeled but do have different food items, so we'll go with the lasagna cup's first track, Cats in the Hood. Charming. In the prep menu, we can choose between Garfield and John, both making terrible noises. There are 6 other unlockable drivers, giving us a total of 8. Garfield's blurb states that along with Mondays, he hates a guy named Nermal.
My principal says that we're not normal.
So I lied, we did get lore, and we know that now. While Garfield is more balanced, as shown by the stats, which I'm assuming are speed, acceleration, and handling, we go with John because that's funnier. We get to choose the car, which affects the stats, though most are locked behind purchased with in-game currency. Hats can also be equipped, each giving a small buff of some kind, with more purchasable and unlockable. I go with Tick-Tock, which promises to have the diamond explode a little faster, though what the diamond is, I can't say. Spoilers are similar to cars, affecting stats. The final category is disposable items, which is an interesting twist. We start the game with 1 item slot, but can expand to 4. I seek to forgo this for my inaugural run, but the game halts me, so it seems like it's expected. I take the cannonball. The first race begins, showing off the track. It takes a moment before I realize that I again have to select the boost item. As the match starts, I pick up my controller, and while we're propelled forward, it sure isn't because of me. The boost fizzles out as I scramble with my non-functioning controls. Again, to make any input changes, you have to leave the whole game. Annoying. After going through it with Steam, we lose the race. I forgot to film, but don't worry, you'll see. Functional, we start our first circuit. We clear those chumps out of the gate due to our item, but are swiftly pursued by Michael Jackson. The controls aren't great, the drifting feels stiff. I'm not sure what most of the items are, though the pies are akin to the shells from Mario. At the end, I ram into a fence trying to figure out how to throw items behind me, almost losing the race. We clutch. The next track is Egypt, which is a strange pull, but one I should have expected given John's headdress. We don't have an item for this race, I guess that's why 4 slots are available for unlock, though it seems tedious they don't just let you buy one in between races. Off the bat, I run into a wall, confused by the track. It gets easier, though we get abducted. Returned to rule his people, John crosses the finish line, a king. The third race has a light water theming with some docks, and the most annoying song playing. It's a little grating that the sim-sounding score plays before and after every race, but this song is just dog water. I see some puzzle pieces as we pass, there's 3 per track, but I don't bother with them yet. The greatest enemy is the UFO, which I try to dodge, falling into the water. We get first anyway. The fourth is a city track, nothing offensive. We get UFO'd right off the bat, which feels shitty. I can already tell this is my least favorite item. Everything else is mundane, but there's a part where I jump over a pie on the road, the banana equivalent, but I still spin out. It feels cheap. We win, taking the tournament. As John Chads rise up, we're joined on the winner's podium by Michael Jackson and a popcorn bucket or something. Winning unlocks Liz, said Michael Jackson. We're dumped back on the home screen. Gearing up for the pizza cup, we peep Liz, who has the same stats as John. Her flavor copy is depressive. We switch John's hat, and I buy 4 cannonballs, forgetting that I can't use them all at once. Whatever. The first track is a farm, again with ill music. I immediately wipe to a fence, and it sets the tone. It's messy, a lot of UFOs, items, misses. I close out in 4th. The second is a mix of town and dirt path hills. There's shortcuts here, but it requires a higher jump than we have. I get a slightly better picture of the items. The diamond is some kind of sticky bomb. The wand lets you change places with someone ahead of you. We close out first in the race, second for the cup. The third track is a city with an industrial vibe. Off the bat, I realize an issue with the items. More advantageous items likely given to lower placing racers can be given at the first item draw, meaning things like the sleep item that slows all the racers can be procced within 15 seconds of a race, killing momentum. It's very annoying creating a start and stop effect. Not to mention, the sleep item causes the game to flash a blank screen for a second, which jolts me every time. Because the game is so shitty, I think it's gonna fucking crash. On the plus side, we discover that drifting through the UFO tractor beam seems to defeat it sometimes, making it more escapable than Mario Kart's blue shell. For the track, I actually like how tight it feels. It's a lot of drifting, turning momentum. We win, taking first in both the race, and now in the cup. The final track is another Egypt-themed one, which is the best the game has to offer aesthetic-wise. Likely because Egypt as a theme already brings a lot to mind visually and sonically, unlike Garfield. Where is the lasagna track? We clear, winning the cup. Again, Liz and the popcorn bucket join us, marveling at our victory. We gain Odie for our trouble, John's other pet. We also unlock 2 new boosts, and permission to compete in the Hamburger Cup. One of the new boost items gives you a minimum of 2 points even if you lose, which feels like a very strange item. Onwards to the Hamburger Cup, we race on a stormy dock, a strange track location. I have it unlocked for most of the race, but learn a few things. You have to aim the wand, and grinding through the UFO is not guaranteed. I hit a wall, letting my enemies close the gap, which leads to my total victimization and loss. The next track is a strange mix of hills and valleys, but the track goes hard, much harder than anything else, so it's kind of shocking. The race isn't close until it is, but don't worry, we eke it out. Third is Egypt again, because we're not letting these assets go to waste, people. Nothing interesting happens, but we catch a dub, bringing us to the top spot in the cup. The final track is the Tomato Factory because, fuck it, why not? It's exhaustingly non-charming if I'm honest. And while the track isn't bad, I like the tight turns and the conveyor belt part. It just feels stupid. There's no environmental storytelling and it greatly cheapens the game. We win the race and the cup. We're joined again by Liz, and this time, someone I thought was Judy Neutron, but is actually a Slender Man cat in a brown pirate hat. We unlock Arlene, or Pink Garfield as the kids call her.
Hi, my name is Pink.
She has the exact same stats as Garfield. I opt to do the daily challenge where I'm tasked with beating Nermal while not drifting at all. Because drifting is the main way of play, this takes me 3 times to beat. Annoying. I'm gifted a purchasable spoiler for my trouble, a pretty good deal considering how high the prices for items are and how little coinage you get per race. Back on the cup page, I've completed the 3 and 50cc, but the 4th mystery cup hasn't opened. I imagine I have to beat more cups in faster modes, so we soldier on to 100cc. It's more of the same, just more boggled around at a faster clip. Sometimes we get R-buckled, sometimes we do the R-buckling. We catch second place the first go, but first, the next 2. The game becomes a lot more swallowable with the acceptance that nothing really matters until the second leg of the final lap. Everything before that is heavily mutable, and as long as you're not super far behind, there's still a chance. On the inverse though, it doesn't really matter how well you perform. Enemies will speed up seemingly for no reason to catch up to you. This is probably to keep the player from severely outpacing, but it isn't tuned correctly, being overly noticeable. The final race sees us first in the final stretch, only to be demoted to 5th in a second. While we still win the cup, it's a middling feeling. The pack is always directly behind you, even when it feels like they're cheating to be there. Good game design gives the player competition, it's a racing game after all, but the overt nature of it makes the outcome seem more luck-based than skill-based. For our victory, we're gifted 2 hats we already own, which is crazy. Between that, the store, the daily challenge, this game feels like it was built with in-game monetization in mind, although that doesn't seem to have come to fruition. I wonder if that was the original intention and it just didn't test well. The game was put on mobile shortly after launch, so they had to have at least thought about it. We clear the pizza cup in 100cc with little fanfare. Once you've experienced the 50cc version, you've seen all there is to see. We get a silver grade bombastic spoiler for our effort. In the Hamburger Cup 100cc, the 3rd race illustrates my point. I use the wand to swap with Liz, who's in first place. Moments after, she passes me, despite there being no boost on the ground or item get. The game just decides she needs to go faster. It's very arbitrary. We win the cup fine, earning the silver grade TikTok. Competing the 100cc cups isn't enough to unlock the 4th cup, which seems silly, so we move forward to 150cc. We take the lasagna cup well enough, though we get 5th on the 3rd race. The 150cc is the worst of both worlds. The pack is always on you, but it's much harder to recover slipping behind. On the 4th race, I use my opening boost, but because I placed poorly previously, I'm at the back of the pack. Rather than the boost plowing me through the other racers, I immediately plow into Liz, and lose my boost, making my standing worse than if I had just not used the boost at all. While I ended up getting first, it shows the issues with momentum. We unlock Nermal for our victory. The next cup, pizza, we come in 5th overall. The experience really shows off what we've learned in the slower cups. Recovery is nearly impossible, any mistake will instantly take you to at least 4th, and the NPCs are simply faster than you. I mess around a bit with our racer, swapping to Odie. We now have a second item slot, somehow. On our first go, Odie seems to keep up much better than John, but it's not enough. Again, when something goes wrong, it stacks due to the tightness of the pack, and you're not going to recover. On the second race, I bump into a wall at the end of a bridge. I then get hit from behind and pushed off. Stuck, we're forced to wait until the game realizes we're stuck. We run the cup again, deciding it's going to be my last go of a pretty unlikable game. Naturally, this means it's tooth and nail. Each race we manage to fall to the back and climb back up. Odie is just built different than John. Eventually, by the skin of our teeth, we conquer the Pizza Cup 150cc, claiming the trophy. This unlocks Harry, whoever the fuck that is, and opens up the Hamburger Cup 150cc. We give the hamburger a go, and while we hold our own enough, we end up coming in second place to Garfield. There's so many things I could say, but the most important is that I hate this game. Luckily, this second place win still unlocks the fourth cup, the Ice Cream Cup. I pay 500 coins to unlock the 150cc version, ready to test it out and be done with this game. The first track is more Egypt, though now at twilight. We drive through the temple and it's pretty cool. Though the collision around one of the pits seems poorly done, registering as bumping into stuff as I slide over it. I'm not sure why this track was held for the final cup. It's one of the most visually interesting and it should have been put in the forefront. The next track is a construction site, unimpressive gray and beige like most of the other tracks. The track after is a park of some kind. The gimmick is a series of ramps in the opening and tight turns. It's not impressive. The last track is a beach ascending onto a bridge and then back down. The bridge is neat, but as a whole, this cup is unimpressive outside of the opening track. We win the Ice Cream Cup 150cc, closing out our Garfield Kart career. Weirdly, if we wanted to replay the Ice Cream Cup, we'd have to pay another 500 coins. There's a lot we can touch on when combing over Garfield Kart. First and foremost, I want to revisit the built for microtransactions concept. The game was on iOS and Android, and in the boost menu before races, this is reflected. It says touch a boost rather than select or click. The game came out on Steam first, but this leans into a mobile-forward development. Many areas of the game make more sense when viewed with microtransactions in mind. The difficulty of the 150cc cups, the way NPCs almost seem to cheat, a poor balance would lead to more sales of boost items. You can't buy boost items in between races because you're more likely to waste items when you're forced to pre-plan without knowing what you'll need. The price of the carts, spoilers, and hats also leans into this. I won every single cup, with the exception of second place in the Pizza 150cc, and I still never had enough coins to buy a new cart. The proposed economy is clear. Earn enough coins to keep paying for some boosts, but not enough to have boosts and bigger items. The daily challenge offers the allure of free shop items, but it's random and it would create habit in the consumer. You can pay 300 coins to re-roll what you win, because you can re-win already owned items. This 300 coin gamble would be enticing. It's cheaper than the shop price for good items, but there's a strong chance for loss. In summation, I think a lot of flaws in the gameplay loop are intentional, like an early gacha game, and this permeates everything else. Selection-wise, getting to choose your character, spoiler, hat, and boost are interesting, and if the game had been decent, it would have been good content. Locking additional pieces behind challenges, a la Super Smash Bros. Challenge menu, would have done a lot for the game. The images representing the challenges could have been comics, which would have acted as a nice visual and a nice tie-in with Garfield history. As it is, though, it lacks. The characters seem to be doubled up, that is, a male and female character having the exact same stats. So while we have 8 characters cosmetically, there's only 4 builds. The cars and gliders are likely more of the variation, but I barely unlocked any of these in my 5-hour playtime, so I can't say how much. I can say that there was a notable difference in my John and Odie bill, so those gauges aren't for nothing. The stats really do matter. The game has no story, just dropping you into the races, the way one might expect from a phone game you play for a few minutes a day. Though, as noted, there's no environmental storytelling. The only thread running through the track seems to be neighborhood, but even then, only kind of. We've got the home street, parks, construction site, local tomato factory, the pier. It does take you around town, but what town, I can't say. There's nothing that clues me into Garfield's world. Nothing that breaks free of generic. Even the Egypt sections are heavily generic, though again, Egypt comes with its own mysticism and culture, making it feel slightly more lived in. I don't know how Garfield is connected to Egypt, but honestly, a Garfield around the world theming would have been a vast improvement. Drive us through the lasagna factory in Italy, under the Garfield balloon at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade in Manhattan. Give us something. There was also a fear of playing with scale in this game that felt odd. Spooky Manor has us drive by a spooky manor, and that's it. We spend the rest of the track on dirt pathing. It's not even at night. The simple answer would have been to have the course be inside of the spooky manor. You know, drive up to it, through a few rooms, out the graveyard, repeat. But the courses are so afraid to play with scaling, as if daring to have an overly large house is an affront. But don't worry, the cats can drive. Sometimes, anyway. The handling of this game was poor, though note I played with controller, and it doesn't have native controller support. The Steam controller support did well enough, though sometimes I could feel my drift 180 if I tilted the joystick in the wrong spot. The drifting felt poor overall until I swapped to Odie, where it felt more grounded. I won't hold that against the game too much because it's fixable with character selection. Mechanically, the courses were fine, but I didn't explore the shortcuts. Most of them required jumping, so you'd have to have the spring item at the ready, which just wasn't happening. Due to the nature of everyone being on your ass all the time, the spring was much more useful as a weapon. The items are painful and pale imitations of their Mario Kart counterparts. The pie was mid, but unlike the green shell, it doesn't bounce off barriers, making it much less effective. The homing pie was similar to the red shell, though I noticed it would often be too slow to hit the target in reasonable time. The diamond, I'm assuming equivalent to a bomb, had too wide a range to stick to, and it took too long to recover from. The wand, which lets you swap with an opponent hit by the blast, was useless. It would need hit scan to be effective, and it should be rarer. The sleep item is the equivalent of the lightning bolt, but it lacks nuance. The lightning bolt affects higher placing racers longer. The sleep item affects everyone equally, making it benefit only the user. The UFO was my biggest op, though the fact that it could be weaseled out of occasionally makes it less lethal than the blue shell. There are other items, but honestly, I was never glad to see any of them. Kart games live and die by the tracks and the items. Garfield Kart has neither going for it. Likewise, the music selection is also painfully generic. None of the tracks feel designed with the game in mind, or even with the course they're paired with. And while that one track slapped, the rest of them were mid at best, and annoying at worst. The effect noises aren't much better, though they at least lean into the cartoon slapstick feeling. Overall, I would give this game a 3 out of 10. Unoriginal and unfair are great words to describe this aborted cash grab, but the best word to describe it is simply boring. Garfield Kart brings nothing to the table, nor is it even the table itself. If you've played one race, you've played them all. If you've played at least one Egypt tract, you've seen all there is to see. Whatever charm Garfield has for millions, I can't imagine it lives here. The reviews for this game are positive out of irony poisoning, and I have no doubt the remake and the sequel only make money off that same irony. Everyone knows this is stupid, but people will pay to watch the Jester dance. And as for the ticket to ride, sometimes as low as 50 cents, so at least the Jester knows he's a joke. The game has no achievements, which is good because there's nothing to achieve here. Whatever this is, be it failed microtransaction slop, IP slop, friend slop, it's slop. It's slop. And we ate it. Together. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat a lasagna. I'll catch you next time.
Meow.